Okay, hi everyone, welcome to TeachMeet WA Reach. This is episode 2, and tonight we're talking about technology to enhance learning in the classroom, but also some people might have ideas for using it in staff meetings and things as well. So what I'll do is we'll go through our presenters for this evening and introduce ourselves. So I'll flick over to Adam first. Adam, could you please tell us your name, your job role, and what you're presenting tonight, and maybe your Twitter handle as well would be lovely.
Fantastic. Hi, I'm Adam Brooks. My Twitter handle is @BrooksSensei. We haven't got the thing working down the bottom here. I am an IT and Japanese teacher at Colby Catholic College in Rockingham.
Awesome, thanks Adam. And Pavneet, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Pavneet Singh, and my Twitter handle is @PavneetSingh12. I'm the Technologies Curriculum Consultant with the Independent Schools ASWA.
Thanks, Pav. And Jeff, would you like to introduce yourself? Jeff? He might have popped out there. Megan, we'll flick over to you. Would you like to introduce yourself quickly? Oh, Megan, we can't hear you. You might have to switch your microphone on.
Hello?
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Okay. Sorry. Hi, I'm Megan. At the moment I'm working for SciTech, but normally a physics teacher, and I'm going to be talking about game-based learning.
Thanks, Megan. And Jeff, would you like to introduce yourself? Jeff seems to be dropping out a little bit. We also have tonight Jessica Parsons, but she's having a few technical difficulties, so she'll be joining us as well. And I'm Hannah. I have my Twitter handle down the bottom, Miss H Dodds, and I'll be presenting about flipped learning in the classroom tonight. We'll just go through a few things first before we get started. I'll just flick over to my screen, and sorry, we're just having a few technical difficulties beforehand. So all the Twitter handles I tweeted out earlier, and you can follow tonight's chat through #TeachMeetWAReach. This will be a recorded session, so it will go to YouTube afterwards, and you can watch the session again if you like, or share it out so that other people can watch it. If you have questions throughout, we'll be tracking on Twitter, so you can #TeachMeetWAReach and send us your questions as we go through. And our objectives are there for tonight on the screen that you can see, and mainly it's to become aware of digital tools to enhance learning in the classroom. So tonight we'll go through in order, starting with Pav, then I'll be discussing flipped learning, Adam will go next, Megan, Jess, if we can get her technical difficulties resolved, and then Jeff afterwards. And then at the end of tonight we'll have an online vote through Twitter as to what you would like for episode 3. So what I'll do is I'll go back now, and we'll get started with Pav. So Pav, you've got about 5 minutes. I'll set my timer, and Pav is presenting about the SAMR model. So if we could all turn our videos and mics off, we'll let Pav take the show.
I'm hoping everyone can hear me.
Yes, Pav, all good.
Good. Okay. Now I'm just going to screen share. There we go. It's all fun and games with tech, isn't it? All right, here we go. I'm hoping everyone can see the slide. Let's go to the beginning. So why I decided to talk about the SAMR model first and foremost is because without having some sort of a model or framework, it becomes quite difficult for us to actually know whether we are using technology effectively or not. And one of the best models I've seen so far, and has been used widely around the world, is Dr. Ruben Putindara's SAMR model. And what he does is he talks about this model as a way for teachers to evaluate how they incorporate technology into their instructional practice. And we can all use summer to reflect on how we are integrating it into our technologies into our classroom. Whether we are using it, and this is just me and my selfie with Ruben just recently. So I thought I'd share that with you because I had a good fortune of meeting him just recently. But this is what the actual model looks like. He almost uses it like a ladder. But for me, I would be cautious saying that it is a ladder because you can enter this model from any point, but it is good to understand that people do go through this ladder at some stage or the other in a way. And you use the summer model to reflect upon augmentation, modification, or redefinition, whether it's substitution level only, which quite often is where people are stuck. And what I'd say is technology acts as at a substitution level. Is technology just acting as a direct tool or as just a substitute with no functional change? And if you have a look is at augmentation level. So I'll give an example of substitution. For example, if students use a word processor for their writing, students can easily edit and format their writing. They can publish their work and print it out rather than have it handwritten. They can save multiple drafts and things like that. And that is that type of work actually giving them an opportunity to extend themselves. Are we giving them enough of an opportunity to extend themselves, or using technology to the best possible potential? So I would say, moving on, a teacher would probably, try and maybe use other tools like, the spelling, the grammar checks, the thesaurus, or might include a graphic in it. You might even use, I don't know, just emails, etc., to further sort of extend that task, and that augmenting at that level. And if we move on to modification, the focus shifts, and the focus moves on to maybe writing task is more collaborative. There are spaces that we are using, online spaces where the work has become more collaborative. There's group work, there's a bit of feedback from peers, and there's lots of comments, maybe even from students within a certain LMS, etc. So that kind of is taking the task to a more transformational level, moving it to modification. Now we need to look at redefinition. And when we look at redefinition, is the technology actually allowing the creation of a new task, which is previously inconceivable? So have to think about that really, really carefully, because that task, that doesn't happen automatically. We were discussing that today. Adam and I were discussing that today. What does redefinition really mean? And to different teachers, it will mean different things depending on where they're at. And what redefinition is for you won't necessarily be redefinition for somebody else.
30 seconds.
Yeah, sure. So having a look at what, those collaborative spaces, have you gone global with it? Are you addressing some global issues? Are you discussing some problems that are being addressed when you're working with different classes across the globe? Are you doing some web conferencing with their students? Are there virtual classrooms where there's a common kids are working in to find some solutions together? And that all sorts of stuff that they might be doing, that the project becomes stronger and stronger because they've been collecting data from different sources, they've been connecting with experts, they've been connecting with students and teachers across different parts of the world. So those sorts of things, again, as I said, redefinition, or this whole ladder will work depending on where you are in your instructional practice. So I've got some videos, etc. So Ruben's actually got a website where he posts all of his work, every conference that he's presented at, etc. All the presentations are there. Very, very generous of him. So please tweet him. That's his website. Go and have a look at the blogs. This is a really good video just introducing the SAMR model. And then another example where Ruben himself explains how to apply the SAMR model in context. Of late, he started to add the EdTech Quintet as well to his presentations. Please investigate that if you get time. I won't go into this. This is for you to pursue later. The other person I want you, everyone to have a look at is Kathy Schrock's work on SAMR model. She talks about Bloom's taxonomy and the SAMR model. So please have a bit of a think about how you use technology. Do not just use technology for the sake of using it. Look at the purpose. Why is it that you want to use it? And will you actually make the task, will it enhance learning or not? So that's me. Done.
Great, thank you, Pav. Did anyone have any questions from the panel of presenters tonight? I'm looking on Twitter and it doesn't look like we've got any questions at the moment, but those are some great resources, Pav, and thanks for sharing. Any questions before we move on? No? Okay, cool. Well, great presentation, Pav, thank you. I'm going to move on now to talking about flipped learning, which is my presentation. So I'll just get my slides up now and share that with you. And I'm going to be trying to screen share my iPad as well throughout this, so I'm crossing my fingers and toes that it works. And I'll just set my timer quickly. So tonight I'm talking about flipped learning quite briefly and just giving a very quick overview, but it is quite in-depth and it does require a little bit of research into what it's all about. So flipped learning was developed by John Bergman and Aaron Sands, and there's a bit of research to back it that you can investigate yourself if you want to. I'm not going to go into that too much tonight because I want to show you rather than just tell you about the research. So flipped learning is all about utilising videos to make the most use of your class time or your staff meetings and PDs that you run. So from using flipped learning in my class, I've noticed an increase in engagement, higher order thinking skills. I've been able to differentiate a lot more for different levels of students, and students are a lot more accountable because they can access videos from home through the class blog, or parents can access them, and there's no wall of the classroom anymore. The learning that we're doing is more open and easy for students to see and parents to see. If you want some examples of how I've used flipped learning in my class, that's the link to my website, and there's a couple of free templates on there that you can use that I've tried out, and the videos that I've produced myself, which are certainly not perfect, but I'm still learning as I go. So for video creation, I wanted to talk about two tools tonight. So I'm just going to AirPlay my iPad to the screen and show you Explain Everything and how I would use it in my early childhood context. So I'm hoping you can see that. So pretty much I have everything ready to go. This is an example of using a model with friends of 6, so teaching my students, because they're 4 and 5 years old, about 2 + 4 = 6, 3 + 3, and 1 + 5 = 6. And so I would use the tools down the side to talk about it, explain, do one-to-one counting, and show them how they can add numbers to get to that total. So that's kind of how I do it, and then I share my video onto my Google Drive or YouTube and create a little link and QR code for them to access the video. The other tool I wanted to share with you very quickly, I only have recently learned about this one, is Screencastify, and it's a Google Chrome add-on. So I'm just going to quickly pop over to that. 2 seconds. Oops, here we go. And I've already got it up for you just to show you where you can download it. And my screen's a bit frozen. Sorry, 2 seconds. Exit. Okay, so this is the web store, and I literally just clicked on Screencastify and pressed the Add to Chrome button. And I now have, if you can see on the top right-hand corner, this little video button here. And to make a video recording, so say if I wanted to talk to the kids about writing that we're constructing or something, if I had older students, I could just press on here, record, and there'd be a little tab down the bottom. I can like preview my screen down here, which you can see, and it puts a little video of me so the kids know it's me that's talking to them. And I can start to talk to them about the writing and use some tools to draw on things on my screen if I want to, which is a bit dodgy because I'm not very coordinated with my mouse. But you can also type and talk about it. So guys, today we're going to write an introduction, and you can start to do that on your screen and record it, and you can save this video for students to watch at their own pace at home. You could even use this for generating feedback. So if you have a Google Apps for Education school and you're using these kind of tools for students to submit their work, you can record yourself annotating their text and giving them some feedback as well. I'm hoping my timer is working. I've got about 1 minute, which is good. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, I'll just go back to my slides. Oops. Is how to save your video. So usually I would put it on my Google Drive, and my students would have our class Google Drive where they'd access it, or you can pop it on YouTube and then, as I said before, create a QR code. So to do that, you can use a QR generator like qrstuff.com to make those, or if you wanted to, you can also use bit.ly, which is a link shortener, which could make it easier if you've got some older students in your class. A few people to follow regarding flipped learning. I've put that together, and I will share these slides on Twitter afterwards, so you can follow those people if you want to. They're really quite active in the flipped learning community. And this presentation has been a really quick run through, but if you're interested in listening and having a go with some flipped learning and creating some videos, I'll be running a workshop at EQUA next week. Oh, there's my timer. So you're welcome to come to that if you feel that you would like to. And that's my presentation. Did anyone have any questions at all before we carry on? No? Okay. Cool. Well, our next person in line to present is Adam. So I'll flick over to you, Adam, if you're ready.
All good. Thank you, Hannah. So I'm going to be talking today about the redefinition of learning using the SAMR model. I'm just going to share my screen and get this up and running. Pav talked about the SAMR model and how it works within the classroom. So the SAMR model, as she said, is a ladder approach, and I quite like this image that has been used throughout the internet. It really shows how the SAMR model works, in that we start off with no tech and then we work our way down to redefinition. So this is kind of the opposite to the ladder approach. I'm not going to talk too much about that. If you want to have a look at that, I'll share my slides later on. But Pav mentioned it before, but learning is at the heart of what we're doing here. So when we use technology, we need to be thinking about what learning is actually occurring, and therefore how is technology going to enable us to enhance learning. So that's what the SAMR model is all about. So we start off with an example of spelling practice. This probably wasn't the best example, come to think about it, but we'll go with it for today, as it's one that everyone knows. So before tech, this is simply what we have. This is my daughter's spelling for week 4 of this term. She gets the words, and she does look cover right check. I guess the next step along the SAMR model would be substitution, and that's where tech acts as a direct tool substitute with no functional change. So what I've done here is I've created a PDF document with the words in, and they could be shared on a learning management system or emailed home, for example. So the idea here is that substitution hasn't actually added anything of true value here to the learning. Augmentation is where tech acts as a direct tool substitute with functional improvement. So I've got a little bit of an example here. So we'll just open this up. So what I've got here are some words, and what I've done is I'm able to share this now with Google Drive, and I can highlight the colours of the words and perhaps also add some pictures and stuff in here as well. If we take that one step further and we go to modification, we get something that looks like this, and I'll see if I can play this now. So modification is going that next step. It's actually changing the task. So before, if a student was unable to read the word, they couldn't actually provide that sound. But now we've got an audio button in here, and I'll see if my internet's going to play for me, and we can play that audio out to the student. And once again, we can get our students to create those resources for us. We can use, we can use this to check the answer afterwards by flipping over the screen. So it enhances the learning by providing additional tools that we wouldn't have had available before technology. Just going back to my original slide here. And I want to hit back on this particular slide that I showed before, that learning is at the heart of it. So when we think about spelling, what is it that is spelling providing us? And when we start thinking about that and redefining the task, we've got to actually look at what are our learning goals. So for example, if we're talking about spelling for this instance, we're either talking about composition or recognition. And if we look at spelling, for example, we've got tools like Siri. So we can say, for example, Siri, spell hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus is spelled H-I-P-P-O-P-O-T-M-U-S.
And it gives me a definition there as well. Also, if I've got speak selection, sorry, my wife's just getting the puppy out of the room. Okay, and then we're going to use the speak selection option as well. So if we just need to recognise a word in some text, I can press the speak button on my my phone. Hopefully you can hear this. Making. So you can do that through the tools that are available. So when it comes to redefinition here, what it actually is, what do we need spelling for here? If we've got tools that can help us compose and recognise words, do we actually need to get students to learn how to spell? That's more of a philosophical discussion with technology going forward, but you know, when we've got tools available like this that redefine the whole task itself, then that's where technology changes how education is actually required going forward. So that's my presentation for today. If you want to take me up on the philosophical discussion, please head to Twitter and we can have a chat about it. But hopefully this has given you a bit of an overview of how the SAMR model can actually enhance learning through this example.
Thanks, Adam. And I just was posting on Twitter how it's really great that your examples are catering for diversity and inclusivity, so well done to you. Our next presenter is Megan. If you're ready, Megan, I'll switch over to you. And Megan is presenting about game-based learning in the classroom.
Come on in a minute. Come on. No. Hello? Can you hear me at all?
Yep, all good. We can hear you.
Okay, can you see me at all?
No, I can't see you, but if you would like to screen share, it might work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Great. Now, can you see this? Ooh.
Is it working again?
Okay. Hi, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Can you hear you? Can't see you at the moment.
Can't see? All right. That's all right. Okay. Good. I had a feeling it was a bit of a risk, but that's okay. We can go with the website instead. Not a problem. Let's go. Just full screen mode. How's that?
Yeah, take the time when you're ready.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about game-based learning, which is learning through playing games. Now, this isn't a new idea by any means, but I guess my passion, and I think something that ties into the higher ends of the summer model, is using video games and playing of video games to tap into learning. And a lot of students and a lot of people are playing video games these days, and it seems silly that we're not using this tool in our classrooms when it's so popular amongst students, and it's a really engaging way to get them involved in topics that they otherwise might not be inherently interested in to start with. And one tool that I wanted to quickly chat about was contraption making. Now, I can't screen share the actual game, but I can show you what it looks like. I wanted to talk about this tool because it's available for free for educational institutions such as schools. And it's basically a virtual Rube Goldberg machine or a chain reaction machine. And initially I was using it to teach physics and energy transfers and transformations and different types of energy, but it has so many more applications than that. And we'll quickly have a quick look at this. But basically there's a lot of different parts, and you can use them to create puzzles and chain reaction machines. So you can start off really simple and get really, really complicated. I'll let you watch the trailer yourself, but the other thing I quite like about it is that it comes with a lot of getting started material if you're new to this. It really steps you through it slowly, even if you're a complete beginner who doesn't play video games, and it's really nice like that. You can create your own puzzles for your students, or you can use the already created puzzles that come with the game. And the other thing is they have some curriculum and lesson plans that other teachers have shared for all different subjects. So we've got one on energy here, and then they've used what they made in Contraption Maker to inspire building a real-life chain reaction machine. I've also seen it used for maths. A lot of the tools within the game have different properties. For example, there's a bunch of different balls, a bowling ball, a tennis ball, golf ball, those sorts of things, and they all bounce to different heights and have different weights associated with them. You can look at simple machines, levers, pulleys, that sort of thing, and all sorts of different things. Engineering design process with the new design and technologies curriculum coming into play over the next year or two. And I just think that video games are sort of allowing us to do things within the classroom that you may or may not otherwise be able to do physically. Maybe you don't have the equipment for that, or perhaps it's too hard for you to make something as big as, you know, a giant chain reaction machine. And I think if our students are already playing video games, it seems silly for us not to be using them to engage them. Just like they already watch TV shows and movies, and we do use TV shows and movies in our classrooms, if they're playing video games, we should be speaking to them through that language as well. And this is just one example that I've played around with and I quite like because it's free, but if you want to hear more, I'm speaking at the Teach Meet on next Wednesday at SciTech, but also at the ECHO conference a bit more on next Friday, about using other video games to teach other subjects and all sorts of things. So yeah, that's my spiel.
Thank you, Megan. That was also very interesting. I had a question for you. Did students make their own games, or is it just playing games? My wife just used a bit of a presentation.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you. You're cutting in and out, but if you could quickly type, or someone else can repeat the question.
I'll put the question to you. That's cool. So our next presenter is Jess. So you ready to present?
Is that me?
Jess.
Yeah, I'm also having difficulty hearing you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, all good. I'll set the time when you're ready.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm here discussing today about mystery Skypes. So I work at a country school, and even though we are a bit far away from the city, we are actually able to incorporate quite a lot of technology into our school system. So over the last month or so, we've been using or having a go at mystery Skypes. So the premise of a mystery Skype is that you link up with a school somewhere in the world through a forum such as Twitter, and the students have to try and, by asking yes and no questions, guess where the other school is located within the world. So, for example, they could ask questions such as, are you located in the Northern Hemisphere? And the students obviously at the other end respond, and they are able to mark it off on the map. So if it's a yes, then the kids can obviously cross out the Southern Hemisphere because they'll narrow it down. So the questions start off by being quite general, and then as the kids begin to locate where they are in the world, the questions become more and more specific. It's absolutely fantastic opportunity for children in country schools, especially to get a experience of dealing with and interacting with students all around the world. So we've done one with a school in America. It was our first one, and it worked really, really well because the kids in America were actually on school camp. So that allowed for the time difference. And yeah, my kids, the fact that they were able to speak to other people and in a different time zone and things like that, they were very, very amazed. And our most recent one was with a school in South Korea, specifically Seoul, and the kids, had a fantastic time again. It was quite interesting speaking to a younger group of students who were bilingual, so were able to speak English. Absolutely, really great. Another class within our school has actually just done one with a school in New Zealand. So we utilise it, and being able to get this technology into our schools allows us to incorporate it into other subject areas such as geography, which is one of the HAS subjects that I'm specifically focusing on at the moment. So I'm allowing them to, or getting them to ask questions about things like the weather and climate, so which links in really, really well. I've got some photos to share of my classroom doing it. So like I said, I had a blast doing it. Let's see if I can get these photos up. So yeah, these are just some of the my class having a go and answering the questions. So obviously they ask questions directly at the computer, and the students at the other end can respond, which is great fun. We had maps, so obviously it can tie in quite nicely with, like I said, geography, a lot of other subjects as well, and the kids just cross off as they go along. So they've asked a question like, are you in Asia? And they can slowly eliminate some of the Asian countries until they get down to the country that they need to. And then usually at the end, there's a question and answer session, general question and answer session, which is obviously a lot of fun for the kids. They get to ask questions about hobbies and yeah, things like that. So hopefully that gave you a bit of an idea. And I mean, like I said, linking up, trying to organise one is very simple through Twitter, and you can definitely use in lots of subject areas, and the kids really, really enjoy it. So if you have any questions about how to organise it or how to run one specifically, because we've had a few attempts at doing it now, and we've obviously found out what works and what doesn't. So I'm more than happy to answer your questions about that through Twitter or any other forum. Thanks.
Jess, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little bit.
Oh, awesome. My Wi-Fi is dropping out. If it does, Adam's going to take over. Thanks so much for your presentation. Looks like you're doing some amazing things in your classroom. We're heading over to Jeff now. He's asked for this evening. So when you're ready, Jeff, I'll flick over to you.
All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
Excellent. All right, I'm Jeff Melkert from Dwelling Up Primary School, and I teach a Year 4, 5, 6 class. I've got my fingers crossed that when I share the screen that this will work. All right, can you see that? Put the right one up. All right, this is Adobe Spark page. It is a great tool that I went to a PD last week where I learned about Adobe Spark, which you might better know as Adobe Slate. It's recently been put into a new app which involves the 3 apps, Adobe Voice, Adobe Slate and Adobe Post. They've been combined into one product and renamed Adobe Spark. They allow you to create great and impactful visual stories. I'm going to take you for a quick tour of Spark page, and it works on both iPad and browser. You do need an account. I'll just get back to my slides. You do need an account to log in, an Adobe account, but you can use your Google account, which gets or helps me to get past the fact that you need to be over 13 to have an Adobe login. So the kids couldn't do it, but now that they can use a Google login, they can log into it and use it. And I haven't used it yet with the kids in my class, but I've used it personally myself to create a few things for some professional learning I've done. Now, when you click on Start, you click the plus button, and it asks you to add a title and a subtitle and put in a background photo. And I've got them all on slides because I'm not relying on my internet to load quick enough if I show you the actual program, but I will show you the end product. So we add in pictures and they look quite visually stunning. You can then add in text or links. So you can add a link to a website, or you can embed videos into it. So you can see there I've embedded episode 1 into the Adobe Spark. You can add in picture grids, so you choose a whole lot of pictures and it will arrange them into a grid for you. You can then alter that grid around to however you like it and save it into the Adobe page. Then you can also add in, the last part you can add in is that you can add in a glide show, which is virtually pictures which scroll along, and you can add other links or text or quotes or things over the top. I'll show you what I mean on this one. So if I go into preview mode, I scroll down, so I've got the video embedded, there's the picture grid, right? And if I come down, this is the glide show, where you've got the pictures in the background and you've got other things coming along at the same time. So you can put in links there, whatever you like. Back to that. Next. You can then, once you're happy with it, you can share it. You have to put it into a category. You can share it with, you can make it visible to other people or private, and it gives you a link to share, so it'll be great for things like portfolios of work, sharing that with students, parents, etc. A poetry anthology I thought would work really well on it. A recount of an activity or an excursion, a Genius Hour presentation or a reflection, a book reflection, and in the slides, which I'll tweet out, I've also left a link to the Teach Me example. What else? I'll also tweet out a link of my examples that I've used at PD sessions. But that's a quick introduction to Adobe Spark page.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Sorry, Adam.
Sorry, you go, Hannah.
No, I hand over to you. I think mine's dropped out a little bit. Can you guys hear me?
Just,
No.
yep.
Okay, Adam's dropped out too. We're not having much luck with
Hannah, you'll have to drop out because you're crackling. So I think, Adam, can you take over from here? Because it's very hard to understand what you're saying at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I think Adam has dropped out.
That's all right. Just soldier on. Hopefully it fixes itself very quickly.
Oh, there he is.
All right.
Hello, sorry, I dropped out completely then.
All right. Do you want to take over because Hannah's still having audio problems?
No worries. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So first of all, we just want to say a big thank you to all of our presenters today. So Pav, Jeff, Jess and Megan, and of course Hannah as well. They're all volunteers here today, so they've come and just here to share their ideas with you. So we want to say a big thank you to them. secondly, we just want to, it's the 10-year anniversary since the first Teach Meet happened in a pub in Scotland. And as part of the 10-year anniversary celebrations, we've been charged to run 10 pub meets as part of Teach Meet WA. So we're particularly trying to aim the TMWA reach towards the regional and remote communities, and there's we know there's a great pub life out there. So use this as a chance to make an excuse to go out to the pub and share your ideas with the educational community, and hold a pub meet. So it's it doesn't need 100 people, just 3 or 4 people is enough. We just want to encourage you to get out there and chat with the teaching community and share your ideas. And make sure you share any of your learnings on Twitter too. Speaking of Twitter, we'll keep the Twitter channel open, so if you've got any questions for any of the presenters, just make sure you include the hashtag TMWAReach, and hopefully the presenters will get back to you. Last of all, we will have a live vote for the next TMWA Reach session. We held it open for 24 hours last time. Now, I'm hoping Hannah can cut in because she had the slide, but I think from memory we have STEAM, so Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, Maths. Feedback, and one was about more tools for enhancing learning from memory. Please don't quote me on that, but Hannah will post up the vote on Twitter. You can find this under the TMWA Reach hashtag as well. Are you there, Hannah?
Yeah, my Wi-Fi is terrible, but yeah.
No worries. Well, thank you everyone for listening out to us. Be sure to keep tweeting, and that's it for this time, and we'll see you again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
We'll see you at the Aqua conference, and we'll see you at the pub meets.
See ya.